I tried to run the Tonight Show properly, but they fought me at every turn. If Johnny wants to run around doing lousy impressions of me, take Doc's outfit. Defective equipment, no more, no less. They encouraged the crew to scoff at Tommy Newsom and tell him he had a great personality.
You do that so good. We got on a kick last night because Robert Blake was on the show. Who's a magnificent guest, a very outspoken, honest guy, and he played the little boy that came up and sold Bogart the lottery ticket in Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
I did not know that.
No, I didn't either until last night. So all of a sudden we got on doing all the lines that you could remember. Sorry to intrude on your living, but I could hardly intrude.
No, I love to do
Bogey.
Bogey. Bogey's my favorite.
You said in the makeup room, especially when he was a little paranoid, like he was in the Cane Mutiny and also Treasure of the Sierra Madre. He was just a shingle was
little
loose.
Bananas. He was in the eyes. The whole attitude changed, and he started twitching and everything. That's why he went for the ball bearings. And I, of course, had him eating them, which he didn't do in the picture, obviously. But he's my favorite. I like to do Bogey. I get very involved in doing Humphrey Bogart.
Because there's a lot of dimension there, plus the voice and the shadings and did he lisp a little bit? I mean, just a little bit?
Well,
it sounded like he did somewhat. I mean, everything was kind of those...
There are many theories that he was hit with shrapnel during the war, and that caused his lip to be cut.
I don't think that's...
The surgeon did a poor job of sewing it up. That's one theory. I don't know. There are many, but I think it was his personality. I mean,
he just had that. The best way to do Bogey is to kind of get your tongue all mixed up inside your voice, so that it just comes out kind of just drool all down
it's a little
your face.
A little wet. You have to do that wet.
That's right. There's a lot of saliva there.
When you do an impression, you do it from the inside out or the outside in. You know what I mean by that, of course.
Yeah, well, I do Bogey really from the inside looking out. In other words, I get so totally involved in doing Bogey. Now, I do you from the inside looking out. I can sometimes, when I'm doing you on stage, this is true in Vegas, I feel so much like Johnny Carson, I can ad-lib better as you than I can as Rich Little, which is a nice compliment.
That's very nice. That's incredible.
I'm not saying I can't ad-lib, but I can come up with little put-me-downs or,
All right.
little things that
come on, don't start up.
I said one the other night, and when I got off stage, I did not remember what I said. The audience fell over. I probably heard it on this show, put it away in my subconscious. But I did a line the other night. It just popped right out of my mind. I said, may a dog in heat romance your shin for the month of November. Which got screams, but I didn't remember saying that. Now, that's total concentration.
So you do work inside and try to look out and feel the character and all the body motions.
I can really become you. Sometimes...
What was the very first one you ever did? I assume you did this in school.
Jimmy Stewart was the first voice I ever did.
I was going to say Jimmy Stewart or Lionel Barrymore.
Well, you could do them both because you could do them from... I Can't Take It With Me, Lionel Barrymore. Everybody likes to do Lionel Barrymore. and Jim Stewart, I sang. I did Jimmy Stewart singing in an album once.
Rich Little on Broadway. Right.
That's good. Give him a cookie.
That's where you're great at.
Yeah, you're the only one who bought that copy, incidentally.
That's where you're great at that, because when Jimmy talks, he does start off about 4 different times in 3 different directions before he gets the thought.
As a matter of fact, when I was hosting the show, I wanted him to come on, and he almost did, and then he had something came up and he couldn't, and he phoned me on the phone. It was funny to pick up the phone in my study. Hello, Reg, what is this? Somebody doing a bad impression of Jimmy Stewart. He said, and Rich, I really would like to come on the show, but I'm kind of tied up, and I just don't think that I'm gonna be able to. And I answered him. I said, to make it. They said, that's right. To make it. That's right. To make it. But as I started to say, I did him singing in this album, and I'd never heard him sing, so I had to kind of guess what he would sing like. And I did them singing People. People who need people are the luckiest people in the world. And he heard the cut from the album, and he said to me, I heard that album, and you compliment me. I don't sing that good. He said, I sing so bad that when I sing in the shower, the soap gets up and leaves the dish.
We'll take a short break here, and we'll be right back after we pause for this message of interest. I'll give you a Bogart line.
All right.
Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Closing line in a movie.
Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
No, I did it
See,
first.
I know, but I'm locking it in my mind. It's from Casablanca to
What?
To Claude Rains at the end of Casablanca.
What do you mean?
Yes, Claude Rains, I know, Joe. I know what you've done for me. I should give you a new life away from you, away from everyone. Do you know they filmed 2 endings to that picture, Casablanca? They did not know how it was going to end, whether she should go off with Paul Heinried or go off
Victor
with Bogey.
Laszlo.
Victor Laszlo. And, boy, he really is a Bogey fan, isn't he?
Yeah.
Do you know that when I was doing the Julie Andrews show, I was doing the famous Captain Quigg speech, and the prop man said to me, here are 2 ball bearings that we got from Paramount, and they're the actual ball bearings that Bogey used in the picture. And I put them in my hand, and I said, why, this is incredible. The impression improved 10 times, you know, with that. It's just like one day I wore a Jack Lemmon coat. I put it on, and it had Jack Lemmon from The Apartment and a label in the back, and I put the coat on and said, oh, it's terrific. It's yeah. You know, we're talking about singers.
Yeah,
Talking about
that
singers.
interests me. You did
Jack Benny is one who cannot sing at all.
And Jack admits that. For somebody who has all the timing in the world as a comedian, when it comes to music, it throws him a little
Jack
bit.
sing?
Well, I mean, the violin, but I'm talking about singing.
Singing. Well, I'll tell you a true story. It's true. Stan Harris, who directed that John Wayne epic that they put on the air about 2-3 years ago on America.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, all the biggies were in it, and Jack Benny was in it. And Stan came to all the actors who were in it and said, now, at the end of the show, we want everybody to sing God Bless America. And Jack, we want you to sing 1 or 2 lines, and then some other celebrity will sing 2, and we'll piece it all together. And Jack said, you've got to be out of your mind. You see? And you know. I have never sung in my entire life. If I sing in this show, everybody across America will throw up. That's exactly what he said. And Stan said, well, it's only 2 lines. He said, it's impossible. I can't sing. George sings. I don't sing. I can't carry a tune. Stan said to him again, but it's just 2 lines. And, I mean, you know, it'll be over before we can even talk it. I can't do it. It's an impossibility. Can't do it. So Stan thought for a minute. He said, well, Jack, could you do this? Could you just lip sync it or just pretend you're singing, and then in a couple of days I'll phone Rich Little, bring him down to the studio, and he will dub it for you. And Jack went. You're gonna bring Rich Little in to dub me singing? Well, listen, if you're gonna go to that much trouble, why don't you get Jan Pierce to do it?
That's a funny story.
That's a true story.
That's funny.
And needless to say, Jack went ahead and did it.
Of course.
And he sang beautifully.
On the album.
God bless America.
I remember that album. It was one of the early things that you did. You had, at that time, I think, Chet Huntley and David Brinkley singing a duet together.
Yes.
You had Sullivan singing, which is a strange...
Ed Sullivan sang Everything's Coming Up Rosy.
Oh, yeah.
You enjoy that?
You enjoy it?
You enjoy that? You want to bring on the crippled frogs now? No. The dead bear, El Fluffo.
Cue the bear.
El Fluffo will throw up a fur ball for you.
that stupid mouse.
But anyway, who else did I? Oh, I had Jack Hawkins and Claude Rains on that album singing "If Ever I Would Leave You."
The great English actor, Jack Hawkins, yeah.
If ever I would leave you, it wouldn't be in springtime. Knowing how in spring I'm bewitched by yourself. And then Claude Rains came in. Oh, no, not in springtime. Summer, winter, fall. Oh, never would I leave you at all. Oh, no.
But it was a crazy album. Boris Karloff sang.
Boris Karloff, yeah, I remember.
Pardon me, myth, but I've never done this with a real life. I wouldn't know where to begin.
If you working on, you work on new people? Of course you do, as they come along.
I'm working on Eddie Arnold, who I've added to the act. Gets a great reaction, especially in fairs around the country. And Neil Diamond is new. Frank Sinatra is new. I am now doing Frank after working on it for 17 years.
That's not easy.
Very hard voice to do because you can't. It's impossible to sing with Frank on a record. He doesn't sing the song the same way twice.
His phrasing is
His phrasing is always different, putting in words and stuff. But after 17 years of really wanting to get this down, I finally got it. Now I'm comfortable with it. And I started out singing "You Will Be My Music." And I must tell you about this. Funny thing that happened. I put this on a cassette. This is what I do when I'm learning a voice. I'll put it on a cassette, and then I'll wander around with this thing on my ear all the time, listening. Even when I'm driving, I'm listening to something. And I had this, "You Will Be My Music," Old Blue Eyes is back from the album.
Right.
And I'm listening to this, and I'm playing it over and over. Now, I go to Houston to do a date. And I think, well, I'll tape rehearsal and see what it sounds like, because I'm still nervous about it when I'm breaking in a
So
new
you work
voice.
with the orchestra on this?
Yeah. So I have this on the front of the tape, the original Sinatra recording. Now I go to rehearsal, and I tape the rehearsal with me singing it to see how it sounds. When it's over, the rehearsal's over, I go back to the dressing room, I flip the thing back to the beginning, but I go right back to the very beginning of the tape and turn it on, and Sinatra, the real Sinatra, sing. So now I'm in the dressing room after this is over, saying, oh, I don't know how this sounds. I think, well, it wasn't too bad. And I turn on the machine, and, "You will be my..." The Sinatra comes on. I go, I can't believe it. I said, I thought Bob Goulet and my Tom Jones and my Newley was good. This could be my best impression. This is fantastic. Now, I don't usually go around, saying that, hey, I, do this well, but I'll tell you, this is one time I said, this is fantastic. I'm calling everybody in. You got to hear me do Sinatra. So I'm calling everybody in. Hey, fella, and the stagehand comes in, and my manager comes in, and my musical director comes in, and I turn this thing on. Listen to this, and I've got this down. I play it, and then all of a sudden it dawns on me. This is really Frank. I'm listening to the real Frank Sinatra like a dummy, and they're all going, that's Frank, And I said, gee, I thought the orchestration sounded a little too good. All those violins. And now we speed it ahead, and I hear mine, And I sound like a mouse in heat on the thing.
He's very difficult.
It's a very difficult impression to do, Frank. But I love. Now I'm doing Chicago, and I can really swing with it. I could use you, Doc.
Yeah. Do voices,
Great sound.
do people change over the years? I don't suppose they're so recognizable.
Well, I've often thought about doing impressions and what people will sound like when they get older.
Usually when people get
never...
older, the voices get a little higher pitched.
Yeah.
As people get older.
Well, Walter Brennan, as he got older, his voice got higher.
Yeah, down in the 40s, voice was down here like that. And when he went into the real McCoys, it started to go up, and the first thing you know, it sounded like that.
So, if this keeps up, I predict that by 1980, he'll sound like Wayne Newton. But now I've tried to picture what you will sound like at 80.